The Paradise Carpet by Jamila Gavin. Jamila Gavin, born in 1941, was born in India to an English mother and an Indian father. She has written many novels for children, perhaps her best known being Coram Boy, a children's historical novel about Toby, saved from an African slave ship, and Aaron, the illegitimate son of the heir to a great estate. The Paradise Carpet was first published in 2002. 1 knot blue, 2 knots yellow, 3 knots red, 4 knots green. The young boys chanted the pattern of the carpet they were weaving. Bony little fingers deftly drew the card down the thread. Warp and weft, top to bottom, right to left, warp and weft and knot. Behind the loom, inside a dark mud hut, crouching like caged animals, sat a line of boys. With backs against a wall, their thin arms rose and fell as they drew the threads from top to bottom, right to left, warp and weft and knot. They could have been musicians plucking at strings, but these were carpet weavers, whose harmonies were of the eye, not the ear, as bit by bit, the glorious patterns and hues of a rich carpet emerged in the darkness. 1 knot blue, 2 knots yellow, 3 knots red, 4 knots green. The boys wove their thread, prompted and guided by old Rama, the only man among them who had the pattern pinned to an upright in front of him. "Ishwa, you're dreaming again," bellowed a harsh voice. Thwack! The hand of the overseer struck a boy round the head. The boy, Ishwa, faltered and nearly fell over sideways. But Bharat, crouching next to him, braced his body and managed to keep his friend upright. "Keep your mind on the job. There'll be no supper for any of you tonight until you've woven another 10 inches, threatened the man. His great shape filled the doorway and blotted out their only source of light. Then he was gone. There was low groan from the boys. Another 10 inches before they would eat. That could take 2 hours or more, for this was the most complicated carpet they had ever woven, and the whole thing was to be completed within 7 months, when an ordinary carpet took at least 12. A wealthy man had come along the rough track to the village in his white Mercedes. When he reached the brick house of Anup, the carpet manufacturer, he got out like a Raja, surrounded by shy jostling children and deferential elders, all of whom noted the gold rings embedded in his chubby fingers, and the chunky foreign watch just glinting beneath the cuffs of his smart suit. "I want a carpet for my daughter's dowry," he declared. "She is to be married next December." Everyone did an instant calculation. That was only 7 months away. "And this is the pattern I want you to weave." Anup took the piece of paper the rich man held out to him. He stared at it long and silently, then gloomily and apologetically shook his head. "Impossible," he said. "I need at least 12 months to do an average carpet, but this, and in 7 months, you say? No, impossible." The rich man pulled out a fat briefcase from the car. He opened it up. There was a gasp from the onlookers. No one had ever seen so much money. Great wads of it, all stapled and bound straight from the bank. "This is what you get now, and the rest when it's finished. I'm sure you can do it. Just work a little harder, and a little longer each day, eh?" He tweaked the ear of the nearest little boy. Anup hesitated. Take it, voices around him urged. Anup's brain spun. Common sense said, "Don't do it, you can't do it." But the money. "I'll do it. Your carpet will be ready on time." Anup gave old Rama the pattern. "You'd better study this," he said. Now Rama knew why Anup had hesitated. The pattern was a paradise garden of strutting peacocks with sweeping tails, gold-spotted deer leaping through undergrowth, squirrels coiling round tree trunks, and monkeys swinging from bough to bough. All sorts of exotic birds swooped and trilled and pecked at luscious fruit and flowers. Most extraordinary of all was the tree of life. From its spreading roots at the base, rising up and up, through twisting, coiling branches, all the way to the top, where the rays of rising sun pierced golden shafts through the leaves. It would need thread of every colour in the rainbow. There aren't enough hours in the day, Rama protested softly. Then we will use the hours of the night too, Anoop retorted harshly. Ishwar stared at the bright blue square in the doorway, the blue of the sky outside. He longed to leap up and charge into the daylight and play, play, play. He'd almost forgotten what the outside was like. It was 2 years since his mother had brought him to this village to be bonded to Anoop for debts incurred in his grandfather's lifetime. Since then, he had worked behind a loom in the dark, airless mud hut. It was like that for all of them, bonded and enslaved, even old Rama. And Ishwar knew he too would die in bondage, that the debt would never be paid off in his lifetime either. Ishwar could hear the voices of the village children being taught under the neem tree to chorus out their times tables and their alphabet. Ishwar tried to listen and learn, but it was no use. He must chant forever with the other carpet weavers, the colours of the thread they were weaving. 1 knot yellow, 2 knots blue, 3 knots red, 4 knots green. The paradise garden shimmered on the loom. If he couldn't play outside, then he must roam within its green shade and splash in the stream and chase the deer and climb branch by branch up and up the tree of life until he reached the blue sky there on the loom. With a strange eagerness, he took up the thread and moved his card top to bottom, right to left, warp and weft and knot, as if he would weave himself into the carpet. Exactly when the 7 months were over, the white Mercedes came. The villagers watched anxiously as the rich man came as before, right up to Anoop's door. Is it ready? It is, answered Anoop, eyeing the bulging briefcase on the back seat. Show it to me. You realise that if it is not exactly what I ordered, I will not take it. Sir, it is exactly what you asked for in every detail, boasted Anoop. I'll be the judge of that, snorted the rich man. Bring it out in the daylight where I can examine it properly. Anoop clicked his fingers. Rama and 3 boys ran to the hut. Hey, Ishwar, exclaimed Rama. Wake up, boy. Help us with the carpet. Ishwar was sitting in his usual place behind the loom, his head leaning against the upright. He didn't respond. Hurry up, bellowed Anoop impatiently. Rama and the boys lugged the carpet outside and with almost holy reverence unrolled it. Even the villagers gasped in amazement at the beauty and workmanship. It was a miracle. They beamed with pride. The rich man came forward till his nose nearly touched the pile. Inch by inch, he scrutinized the carpet. Suddenly, he roared with fury. What's this? He shouted. I didn't ask for this. What kind of idiotic thing have you done here? I can't take it, not with this. He dragged the carpet out of their hands and trampled it into the dust. Then, leaving the villagers appalled and stunned, the rich businessman got into his car and sped off at top speed. Nobody moved. Fearful eyes turned to Anoop. He was standing as if turned to stone. At last, he clicked his fingers. In horrified silence, they held out the carpet. Anoop's expert eye began at the tip and scanned the carpet, as he had done 20 times each day. In his mind's eye, he wove each thread himself. He panned along the twisting branches of the tree of life the glowing colours of hummingbirds and nightingales, dropping down through 10 shades of green leaves and a dozen shades of blossoms of red, pink, purple and violet. He noted the golden fur of a deer darting through the grass, the 100 eyes of a peacock's tail shimmering near a silver fountain, and then Anoop's body shuddered. He shuddered so hard they heard his teeth rattle and the bones of his fingers clicking as he ground his knuckles into his fist. Then Anoop's body shuddered. He shuddered so hard. "What is it?" murmured the villagers. "What has he seen?" They surged forward. Speechless with rage, Anoop pointed to a spot deep in the undergrowth. Almost hidden among blossom and foliage, the young face of a boy peered up at the tree of life, an arm upstretched, ready to climb. "Ishwa," Rama muttered under his breath. "It's Ishwa! Ishwa!" The name was shrieked in vengeance. The villagers rushed to the hut. The boy still leaned against the loom as if resting his aching head. Anoop strode over and kicked him. The boy slipped forward, face down onto the earth floor. When they rolled him over, they saw he was dead.